Hello everybody and welcome back to the NLC. We're getting ready to go into our second game of the day, which is going to be Nord versus Nativz. Let's talk a little bit about this matchup and the upcoming stuff. We had a brief look and a brief chat in that extended break, just how fast that game number one was. We had a little bit more time to kind of look at everything. Nativz are scary, man. Like, you got Shikari in the top lane, you got Nativz in the bot lane. And if you're not from the NLC, I feel like these are names you would know by now, even if you're not from the NLC. Nativz has had, I believe, a couple of appearances at EU Masters. Shikari, formerly played on Fnatic Rising, has played at multiple EU Masters over the years, now EMEA. A very, very seasoned player. And Nativz, one of the, if not the best AD carry in this region, and has been someone who a lot of people are touting as someone to keep your eye on for quite a while now. Nativz are scary is basically the TLDR.
Yep, no, absolutely. I've dealt with Shikari in lane, right? I've played against him when he was on Fnatic Rising because I played in UKLC too, and he's rough to deal with. He's incredibly good at being like a Stonewall player who will never lose top lane or go down any significant margin, right? He'll never be frozen on. He will find ways to be carried. And my little concern is the fact that sometimes I think Nativz can play this passive style too, and maybe you have two side lanes who are, while they're rocks, they don't really do anything, for a while until you eventually become very strong in team fights, which is fine too, because that is kind of the meta right now. But what if you have to play something different in upcoming metas? But no, Shikari, fantastic player, absolutely vouch. Played against him, I played Darius into his poppy, and I lost lane, which is, if you play top lane, like, unthinkable. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you.
No, I think it's a fair assessment, but they're both quite slow players. And typically when you look at like hyped up players in different roles on the same team, you get that kind of like super team problem where it's like, oh, everyone's just too good, so they don't gel well together. But like, I feel like Shikari and Nativz, their styles very much suit each other, because like you said, Shikari isn't a hyper carry top laner, so he's not resource intensive, where Nativz is very resource intensive. He's someone who can sit back and just not lose lane. Like, that's Shikari's greatest strength, is his ability to just not lose lane. It's not win it, just not lose it. And like, have that lane in a state where like he's very comfortable, his team can play around it, and it's not like a massive sore point. He's also very capable of taking over when given the opportunity. And I think that's what makes him scary, is he's not just one of those Stonewall tanks who you can kind of just go, okay, we'll just farm versus, because you have to kind of have your wits about you when laning versus him. On the other side, this is going to be, oh god, Nord. So Nord, honestly with you, Indecision is the only player I recognize the name of on this roster. Unless there's been some name changes, these are a little bit unknown to me. So I'm hoping you have a little bit more inside information than me on this one, Aaron.
Yeah. I mean, I've played against Indecision and solo queue. Nidalee is a target ban into him. He's very good on it. Kakos, I was a little bit concerned by yesterday getting solo killed in Ornn v Gwen. At the very least, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And then Omon was actually impressive, right? Omon picking the Nico, getting counterpicked. Look, I say counterpick, but I don't think Nico's counterpickable. Realistically, I think she's broken. But they gave draft resources over to the enemy mid laner yesterday. And despite that, Oman still solo killed level like 3 or 4 or something ridiculous with a flash forward. So still really good. Hopefully they get Nico banned into them next time.
Yeah. I mean, I want to see some of the... I actually haven't seen a new Nico at all in any of my solo queue games.
It's silly.
It's weird because like I've been playing a lot of League recently. It's been a bit of a joke between me and Aragon, but I don't really play as much League anymore. But like during off season, I actually played more League than I think I played in a long time. And I just haven't seen a single Nico. And it's not like she's been banned. It's just people in like bad elo where I am, like, us bad players. I'm just not seeing her. People just don't seem to be picking her up. So I low-key hope we get to see some of this Nico action. And something we're not going to see, and I'm pretty okay with, is going to be that Melius. That is going to get denied away here, along with the Lucian and the Zeri. A lot of bot lane focus so far coming out of this ban phase.
Yeah, I do think yesterday they had a problem which made them look worse than they are. And I saw their coach, sorry mate, you know who you are, you're a great guy, who messaged me last play who said he liked my cast. Thank you for that.
Now I'm going to
your drafts. Yeah, I'm sorry, I have to flame you. I think he realized that he was reflecting on Twitter. He said the drafts were too hard to play because of how slow they were and how much scaling they had compared to proactivity. And I think they needed a bridge. Inherently, they drafted a composition which only came online at level 6, and that was only through mid jungle. Then they had Gwen top lane, who is sit back scaling, and a Ezreal Yuumi bot side, which is just impossible to play through as well. And they played really well you know, up until one mistake, in which case, you know, you're eventually going to make one. And the AD carry got picked a dragon or something. But the point was they had no tools to play through themselves. So I want them to draft more tools for themselves early. Gragas is a really good step for this, right? Gragas has a lot of setup in the early game, especially if it's played mid lane. Top lane is just more of a tank that sits there. But mid lane, Gragas has a lot of setup, which you can pair off with loads of different junglers. So I really like that. But again, we're seeing just the standard picks. All these bans coming through. Maokai priority. Just looking at anything that's still up, I think these are the main ones that have actually come through. Yeah, I want to see what they lock in second to complement. They could lock in the Jace, that's a good pairing, or they just lock in a Felios and be standard. Cassante, oh, of course.
You did say this actually. Sion and Cassante, your kind of Stonewall top laners. It does mean that the Aphelios is pickable on the other side for Nord if they want to be taking that. Obviously, Lulu Aphelios is up and available. So this isn't a bad rotation here for the side of Nord. Just offering some ideas. I'm not going to get excited by the spicy pick quite yet until anything is locked in. Oh, they've done it! Spicy pick!
Locked in.
Okay, so Gragas, yes. We've all seen it. We all love it. Very excited by that one. That is a terrifying front line of a team.
That is a beefy front line.
I do worry though that like Voxney can now just take like either the Aphelios or they take the Lulu and then just pick that like either with whatever's been left open after the ban phase. Nord actually aim away from that and actually go for the Jinx. I think that's probably a smarter decision here. It will now force Nativz to kind of be a little bit more decisive with their bans on if they want to go for Sion, if they want to go for like bot lane supports that will pair up really well with the Jinx. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I imagine now. Oh, that's very interesting. This is a really good combo. Okay, so Yone Maokai is actually inherently a really strong combo. It does give away the flex pick, but that's fine. Because what will happen is you think about how Maokai plays fights. Maokai throws an ulti from Fog of War to a Dragon Pit, right? And what that does is everyone lines up in a line behind one person to tank that Maokai ult, and that perfectly lines up the Yone ulti. Right, it's a really, really nice interaction. We saw a lot of it last split, but again, really, really nice front line. I can imagine we're going to see a lot of front-to-back team fighting. These front lines are really, really strong because they have like the unique ability to be able to displace the front liners of each team. Right, Cassante can pull back the enemy front line and zone them and split them away from the thing, and so can Gragas. They can split away from the carries as well. Gragas can ulti the enemy front line and split them up. So we have a lot of that. I think what I want to see is some Gwen bans coming in here. I think Gwen is incredibly important to ban because you have a lot of melees on the side of Nativz and Nord. I would really, really like a Gwen ban here.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking this is one of those it's one of those bot lanes. Well, not bot lanes, sorry. This is one of those games where like you have 3 Yasuos effectively. Like Cassante, Yasuo, and Yone all basically have the same queue. It's like you have to charge it up and then you get like a displacement on that third strike of it. Going away from my my ramblings, we have seen the final ban from the side of Nativz is going to be the Kennen along with that Lulu earlier. Double AD carries coming out from Nord, the Aphelios, the Xayah. I really like that. I'm curious what Voxney is going to be looking to pick up here with the Lucian banned earlier and the Zeri also banned. There's 4 AD carries out the pool. He could go for something like an on-hit Varus. He could go towards... who is open? I'm trying to think like what AD carries are good at the moment right now.
Oh, this
that's
would be
also
a classic.
Voxney special.
That's a classic.
That's a Voxney special. The Seraphine bot lane. What do they typically pair that up with? I can't remember.
CC. So because you want to be able to hard CC an enemy, and that makes Seraphine E instantly root and stun, right? So that's what you want to pair off with. Stuff like Nautilus, you know, I can imagine you deny that away from Nord, or Nord picks it away from Nativz as well. But this is we really moved away from yesterday's draft from Nativz. Yesterday, what we had was a composition that was entirely protect the Den Voxney. Now we moved to a composition where you play through mid with this Yone, you know, get him through lane and team fight really well. So whilst it's all about team fighting still, you're moving away from Den Voxney as the hyper carry. But again, as we see, Nord have denied that Nautilus. Very important here. I think it's one of the better pairings with Den Voxney Seraphine here. So what hard engage CC support do you go for now? I think there's potential for a Braum, but it's still not the best. It's just a good isolated counter into the Nautilus. That is a lot of melee. That is a lot of melee. Still rough lane into Cassante. But
you got Gragas and Malphite to set up the Yasuo. You can also just like turbo in each other and Gragas ult into Malphite ult, and then everyone just scatters away and doesn't get hit. That's scary. Final lock-in is going to be that Alistar. I actually really like him because you talk. There's a lot of melee. he can pick one person and say, you're not in the fight anymore, and just bop them out of the fight. Obviously, you still have the headbutt pole as like the main combo, but the ability to basically eject someone from a fight could be quite useful in some of these kind of fights where like Denvoxney could find himself being jumped onto. But overall, Nativz is quite a tanky team.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to get a slow early game, and then like it'll explode at level 6 or at 8 minutes at Rift Herald fights. I think that is definitely what we have to keep our eye on, how the teams get there, because realistically nothing's happening top lane as usual. Cassante vs Malphite is just nothing, and then you have bot lane where if someone gets hooked, you can just punt them away as Alistar, right? You're realistically not killing with Nautilus Jinx potentially. I don't think you are. So my eyes are on mid lane when level 6s are around, when Rift Herald is up. How do the fights go?
Well, we'll have to find out. I'm finding this very hard to predict. I feel like if Nord headbutt their Arkies in the right order, they win the fight. I feel Nativz, though, have so many tools to stop them from getting in range to press those Arkies. This is going to be a good game. This is actually going to be a really, really good game. I think the thing
we've had some good drafts.
We've had some really... Like, we've come in and everyone goes, it's time for fun. We play for fun now. I do think... It's one of these things where, like, whenever I talk about Denvoxney, I've always kind of looked at him as like a mini Reckless, like a hyper carry who's very, you know, he'll just farm 300 CS and then join the fight. And that is realistically true. But I always do forget about his Seraphine as, like, he is willing to do what Reckless didn't and is willing to be that guy who will play a more supportive role in the team, be more utility focused than the carry. He's someone who's very trusting of his teammates in their ability to carry him as well. So it makes him an incredibly flexible ADC. You know, not only is he a hyper carry player, but he's also a very reliant, kind of supportive, I'll just play for you guys kind of player as well. So yeah, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a banger. I'm so excited for this one.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how the Yone Maokai interaction works, because this is my first cast of seeing Yone Maokai as a duo. I've really wanted to for a long time, ever since last split, because the duo is so potent in teamfights, right? Maokai is incredible in teamfights already, but now you have this specific micro interaction of lining up the ultimates and just guaranteeing that Yone ulti that I really want to see. So lots of pressure on Vladdy and Stefan actually this time around. Eyes are on mid lane, Stefan and Vladdy versus Indecision and Oman. How will this go?
Yeah, I'm well excited. Hopefully we'll get into game fairly soon. We can see exactly how this game number 2 is going to go. But, you know, in standard NLC fashion, there has been delays because welcome to NLC. I don't know if we have anything else more to add about this conversation. Like, I feel like we've kind of hit everything we need to hit going into this game. How was your off season, Aragon? Did you go to MSI?
I actually didn't. I couldn't make it down to London, but maybe maybe Worlds. You know, I really wanted to.
Next time League comes to the UK. I'm gonna
there
be
were
40,
rumblings about Worlds coming to the UK. Did you not see? There have been little whisperings that it could be, and I think that would be fantastic.
Is that just people getting excited though because MSI was here, or do you think because I feel like that's the case. I'm hoping we don't have to wait as long. But yeah.
No, I think what happened was like the global head of esports, or someone like this, said that potentially, because the UK was such a good place, the venue was great, and the people were great, that they might come back to the UK soon again. So people interpret that, however, what she worded, that it could come back to the UK for Worlds. Little trades coming in. Shikari, I don't think anyone got a grass proc. No free 18 gold there in terms of HP value. I think Kakos might have gotten, it depends what runes he has secondary, if he got a Manaflow band stack, which is also worth a little bit of gold, and a little mini game there to track. Doesn't look like it matters. They both recall, come online, and I imagine just full clears. We're just going to see full clears from, bot to top to bot, and maybe there'll be a play down bot side. I think that has the most setup in the game there. But other than that, nothing really.
Yeah, pretty standard start there. So we got the Malphite versus the Cassante. I forgot his name there for a second. This is going to be a relatively quiet lane from my expectations. I feel like these are just 2 tanks. They're going to be catching farm and playing for team fight. This mid lane, though, it has been a hot minute since I've seen a Yasuo versus a Yone.
It has been.
I can't remember who wins this matchup, actually. That's how long it's been.
I think what's going to happen is it's going to be very jungle dependent. I mean, as usual. In terms of raw DPS, it does look like it's pretty even, right? They both just lethal tempoed each other until half HP, and maybe you're setting up future plays with the jungler coming up, because the supports could also roam too, so this chunk might be relevant. think the play is already happening. A level 2 gank. That's set up
Oh,
in the CC.
Nativz found the lockdown hideout. He has no flash. He has no ghost. He's just locked in place. Way too much crowd control, and he's down.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been a flash head, but pulverize into a Maokai W, you know, flash forward as well, because you can see the summoners are all gone. Actually, no, Alistair
Twist in flash?
How did Twist gap close? Did he just walk at them? Because you like Alistair, notoriously bad level 1 with only 1 knock-up, right? Has to walk at them, so must have been a push into the knock-up, not having to flash and just finding an early play, not expecting the early level 2 gank, because, well, who would, right? In this kind of game with these drafts.
There might have been a big brain, like he started the headbutt over the pulverize and then just knocked them back into the CC of Stefan. That's another option that potentially could have happened.
Yeah,
Vladdy doing a very good job here in the mid lane, actually, getting quite a lot of control over the lane, using that kind of unshackle from the E.
Wait, as another kill?
Oh, they got another kill. The flash comes out, and he can't even find a follow-up kill. That's really bad. He's had to burn all of his health as well. He needs to go for a reset, because if he tries to catch this wave, he's just going to get killed when he comes back to lane, when they come back to lane. Bot lane is not going great here for Nord.
Really nice flash by Denvoxney at the end there, because he flashed between Hido's auto attack. So when he flashed away, he couldn't continue auto attacking and just had to keep walking, and you know, managed to escape that way. Really, really nice. No flashes now for Hido and Seneca. Maybe we can see some reganks down bot side. I imagine both junglers won't even bother going anywhere else, because that is definitely the most likely place where you could find a potential kill. Indecision skirting some vision there from the minions. I think he would have been seen there. That is about vision. You can see some missing pings coming down from Twist's Alistair here, because there is like no vision, but they do have a river ward. Doesn't look like a play's going to happen though.
Yeah, it looks like it's a little bit hard to pull off. Although Denvoxney did stand around as if maybe he hadn't been seen, so maybe there was a well-worn decision. Actually did avoid the vision there. He's about to get Hex flashed onto by Twist. Goes for the knockback. Is immediately going to get caught by the knock-up as well. Indecision's forced to flash. The Glacial Augment slow zone. That's twice in a row where you really see the power of that rune. It makes such a slow carpet, but really just guarantees more follow-up damage and crowd control.
Yeah, and you can see they really want to play around mid lane, because early game is the worst part for both Yasuo and Yone. They're both very susceptible to dying, and typically what you see is like saplings and wards going around to get Yone and Yasuo through these lane phases early game, right? Because of just how vulnerable they are. I mean, there's a meme about Yasuo's going 0-8 for a reason, right? So that's what we're seeing, and now both junglers do look like they're going to go down to bot side, as we do get a pause.
Yeah, I'm just going to hopefully get back into game fairly soon. I think there's been a couple of connectivity issues going on the tournament server today, unfortunately. But yeah, this game's been kind of what I expected from the early game. I didn't expect bot to go that bad that early. And then the fact that they burnt all their summoner spells in the previous catch meant that there was no follow-up there for Hido, and he paid dearly, because that was an easy double kill on the Jinx, and suddenly that lane was just caught back up on. And had to reset, get all his health back. There's 2 resets in a row. Really, really rough start.
The thing is, Hido yesterday was also the one who started the chain play of just being snowballed on after he got picked at Dragon by an Amumu Jarvan combo, right? He was walking, as an AD carry, walking to the Dragon Pit and just got picked, and all of a sudden the game kaboomed open, right? It completely exploded and the game snowballed out of control. So I really want to see Hido step up here. Unfortunately, dying to a level 2 gank like that, whilst it's not entirely his fault, right? It's a surprise gank. I think Twist should be fine here.
Oh, they're going to get a lot of damage off, but the slow zone's going to be a real problem.
Walks around.
Little bit of a follow-up. Hido, one more auto should just about do it. There's a lot of crowd control. If you're caught, you're standing still on either side of these teams.
Absolutely brutal. And what we saw there was the level of zone control that the teams have as well, area control, because you had traps on one side and you had a Gragas barrel on the other, so you had to walk all the way back around to the other side as to not walk into either of them. And in just that time, he gets DPS'd by Hido's Jinx, so really good stuff. Can this kill turn into anything? I don't think so. Just a really nice pick to get Hido back in the game.
Yeah, got him his boots too off the back of that, straight off that base. Comes back to lane with a little bit more movement speed and attack speed. He'd be very happy with that one. His Ghost is back up. His Flash coming up relatively soon. We've seen both of the mid laners teleport back into their lane as Twist is in the area. Omen definitely has an idea that there's going to be someone around. He knows that bot lane just died. He knows that everyone's on resets right now. So he is playing this very respectfully towards Vladdy on the Yone there. Omen charging up his Q.
So the advantage that Nord do have right now is the ability to move up to that Herald fight soon as well, because he does have Zerka Greaves tier 2 boots rush first, compared to the opposite Den Voxney not having those tier 2 boots rush. So potentially could shift up at 8 minutes after crashing a wave to contest that and have that advantage there. But I don't know if that will happen. It does look like they're pretty content sitting bot lane as a fight comes out in mid lane.
Or they throw everything down. They're trying to look for the knock up, but Omen's in danger. He's able to flash away to safety. Just unaware that Stefan was in the range, and they did get the double belly bot, but at that point, Omen was still in the crowd control and was unable to cast his R. Really rough.
And it just reminded me, like, you asked what is the differences, who wins, and I think the general consensus is, I gotta hold that thought, as Hiddo gets engaged on.
Yeah, he's on the run. He's got everybody running down. The axe, the hook comes out, and somehow Nord with the Ghost is able to get away from that one. Really, really well played. Omen as well, going to be able to shove in this mid wave, get some pressure here. Doesn't have teleport, but it buys him a little bit of room to kind of get that break off and maybe move away. His indecision is thinking about coming in to contest this Hex Texel.
210-second cooldown on that Ghost means that he will not have it for these neutral objective fights, which is pretty big, right? The Ghost in a team fight is really, really massive. So maybe because of that, they opt not to contest. Obviously, they would lose the Dragon no matter what, but with the Rift Herald spawning, they might opt instead to cross-map them bot side because they do not have their summoners, specifically the Ghost. They do have Flash, but maybe they opt not to. I would like to see some cross-mapping down to bot side. Maybe they can get a play or two whilst they lose Herald. But again, time will tell.
Top lane's now at the point where they both got their Balmy Cinders. They both got themselves Door and Shield. They're literally identical builds. Same amount of biscuits and everything.
Why does the Observer go here? Like, ever? I guess everyone's on reset and there's no interaction, but seriously, nothing ever happens. Absolutely. You exchange a grass proc or two, but realistically, nothing.
Is there a point where this lane leans in a certain favor, or is it literally just two
it's
stone walls?
It's Cassante favored. Cassante is a really, really, really strong champion in lane. A lot of spacing, a lot of trades, heavy trades, whereas Malphite's very simple, right? And Malphite can only auto attack with a W, whereas Cassante has every 2 seconds a Q into an auto attack, and it's very oppressive. But despite that, Kakos is actually doing extremely well. Nice little wind wall into the Q3 there to block the missile version of it. You know, I'm kind of enjoying these trades and watching them.
Yasuo Yone is super fun to watch. Omen does have the confidence that he has his Nautilus and his Jinx behind him, but not going to get himself in any real danger right now. And it does look like Nord are going to use the pressure they've got right now to try and turn their attention towards the Rift Herald. Nativz are very much aware this is happening, but there's not really any opportunity for them to do anything of it. So Indecision just going to grab himself the Herald, go for the reset, get himself back on the map. And the question is where is he going to go use that? Yeah. I feel like it might just be mid lane. I think you've got the setup with the cask. You land a cask, get the Yasuo set up, and also snowball one of these two, because that's what both teams want. They want either their Yone or their Yasuo ahead.
Yeah, some rough wave state for Nord, but this is the price of getting that Herald. They cannot contest because they might be ganked and cross-mapped by the Maokai. You know, I said that they might give up Herald, but then I realized just now, I looked at the compositions and just look at every champion's ultimate. Of course you're going to contest Herald, right? Every single ultimate is terrifying. Gragas ult, Malphite ult, Nautilus ult, Yasuo ult, right? Every single one. So naturally, Nativz decide we're weaker at this point. Right, our ultis just are not as good. I'll do it like a 5-5 potential is just not as good, and we're going to give it up. And we can't cross map because we have Seraphine, so the best we can do is create a creative freeze.
Yeah, I think the top side of the map is the major problem, because that's where all of the enabling for the Yasuo is.
Yeah.
So Heralds are always going to be a scary thing for Nativz to contest unless they have, you know, a good shove and a good reset opportunity on their bot side that they can rotate down for it. But at that point, Den Voxney, he had the lane in a great state for himself, just not to be able to answer on the other side of the map.
Yep. And the game has gone back to like neutral scaling. I can imagine that this doesn't turn into a play, and what we're going to wait for is... Have I spoken too soon? I think it's a kill.
Oh my, what? I did not expect Vladdy just to kill him like that. Man, Yone is...
I think he's the better version.
Yone's a ridiculous champion. He's such a ridiculous champion.
Yeah, this is what people say a lot. Yone is just a more well-rounded version of Yasuo, and Yasuo is a gimmick with knockups, right? With the the Yasuo Gragas combinations. I think I see it now. You know, just straight up winning in that 1v1.
I actually don't mind Yasuo. I tilt every time Yone. Yone tilts the hell out of me. That champion is ridiculous. Lethal tempo as well. I mean, you just saw him just ramping up, and then that was it. Omen was just gonzo. He just spent the entire time. right, this is gonna be me complaining. Whenever you fight a Yone, you spend 70% of the time crowd controlled. It's awful. I hate it. You literally spend so much time doing nothing, and then he just pings back to safety. It's like, oh cool, I don't get to play.
And
versus...
if you're a melee, he has a bunch of move speed to kite you whilst he's like running around in that shadow form. It's really, really rough with a load of CC as well. I completely agree and sympathize.
Ridiculous champion. Oh,
Omen?
Oh, Omen able to dodge that time.
No, I think we just want more fights, don't we? We're just kind
I
of
just want to see. I want to see Yasuo Yone more. As much as I hate Yone, I do want to see Yasuo Yone. Mostly because I want to see the Yone lose. That's not caster bias. That's just champion bias.
Yeah.
I'm happy for whoever wins this game. I just want the Yone not to enjoy it. Yeah. that's my outlook on it.
That's completely fair. I completely understand. These champions are frustrating. Anyway, team fight coming up. Dragon in a minute. I think he's sitting on Vision, or it was guessed by Nativz, which is a good guess. When it comes to Maokai team fights, you can often tell who will win the team fight based on how early the Maokai is on the objective and how set up he is with saplings. If the Maokai arrives late and all he's doing is throwing a single sapling into bush without any setup, then usually the Maokai actually loses the fight. But what's happened here is Stefan has managed to get in early, and he might be able to get in position to cast an ulti from Fog of War, which will in turn line up the ultimate from the Yone on Vladdy. So I really like what Nativz are doing here on the objective early, except he might be dead.
Oh, they might just find the kill. They almost get Vladdy out of it. The rocket comes in for the dunk. Now they need more setup. Teleport coming in. Charm comes out from Denvoxy, catching on to multiple members. They're locking their Yasuo in place. He's unable to move, and Nativz take themselves the fight here. Nice and simple. Krakos did not have his ultimate available to him, so he is just going to be able to try and take as many places as possible. But Dragon over the Nativz.
And despite having that pick onto Vladdy at the start, they use everything on him. It doesn't matter in the end because they managed to land a huge wombo combo from the Denvoxy Seraphine. And Kakos didn't actually have TP, right? So what's happening again, what's becoming evident is that with the changes from 13.10, TP being able to TP down before 10 minutes, before 14 minutes rather, maintaining your TP for after 10 minutes is becoming incredibly important. Kakos did not have TP there, Shikari did, and because of that, he managed to TP there and turn around the fight.
Well, the thing is Omen didn't even get an assist onto Vladdy's death there. He just didn't get in range. He held the ultimate because he was hoping that like a bigger cask or a bigger setup could enable him for like a multi-man ulti. But he doesn't even get the assist goal from that, so it's going to be a little upsetty spaghetti with that one. Did spend, again, a lot of time crowd controlled, funnily enough, as Omen dodging away on these Yone Q threes. It's really nice to see him place that down, but he's just significantly weaker. The BF sword on Vladdy with that kill, just able to trade so much more effectively.
I think because we've been saying that it's all doom and gloom for Nord. It isn't quite, because where they have the gold where they want it, right? Hiddo does have the gold despite the rough early start. He does have now his completed item and has the 2 kills on him, which is exactly where you want it to be. You don't want the kills anywhere else except for maybe the Yasuo. But despite that, getting excited in the last fight, it just wasn't enough. He got the kill and the assist early. It just didn't translate into anything with the nice snipe on the ulti. So in the upcoming fights, I want to see his resets from the Yasuo Gragas combination to be able to turn into more. Maybe with the ghost, run down some people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Hiddo definitely is an open opportunity. I think the major thing is this game is definitely not decided. I mean, we've got 2 teams that have both got very capable team fighting teams. We saw a kind of glimpse of the potential of what both these teams are going to be looking to do in that previous fight. And you can see these fights are going to be messy when we get onto them. It does look like Nord are setting up for the Rift Herald. They have TP advantage this time, though, because Kakos does have his teleport. So as long as Vladdy doesn't play Interrupt onto him, he should be able to get there. Same for Vladdy, who also has his teleport. That's why we've seen Omen also come over. They're using everything down onto Stefan. He's getting himself some serious danger around the wind wall. Denvoxy's able to line up the Encore, connecting in. Shikari making his way down to see if he can find an opportunity into the fight. Seneca, very low HP, caught by the headbutt pulverized. They're going to get the cast down. They're going to buy a little bit of space. The teleport's just too slow here from Kakos, and he's interrupted as well.
Oh. That is a disaster. They tried to make a quick play and a pick onto Stefan by using their ultimates with the Gragas and the Yasuo, but unfortunately, he just doesn't get burst out. I guess the thinking there is that he's actually quite squishy. Stefan's not opting into the tank build. He's full AP, and because of that, they think they can one-shot him. Just doesn't die, right? He doesn't die, and then the Yasuo Wind Wall, unfortunately, Omon's Wind Wall does not block the Seraphine ulti, and he just gets comboed again. it's a complete, it's the exact same thing as what happened before in the other fight. They tried to burst someone out and they end up losing the fight again. So very unfortunate. Maybe not going for the quick play is the correct play. Maybe they should stop the objective and then turn and play it that way potentially. But still, I understand.
Also, when Shikari's able to walk down from top lane before Cackles even thinks about pressing teleport, kind of shows that like that was just a bit of a miscommunication fight. I think Seneca saw an opportunity to kill Stefan. Like you said, thought they were squishy. Went, I'm just going to press R. Omen, press ult. Just go for it. We won't look for the big wombo combo ult. We'll just try and get the pick one here. And like you said, he's just tankier than they expected. They completely underestimated it. I think that's partly down to just the itemization
He's
right
so
now.
far behind.
Omen hasn't finished an item, while Vladdy, rocking that Gale Force, was able to get in range and play Interrupt onto Kakos before he could get into the fight. And that's a weak Yasuo. Very strong drinks, don't get me wrong, but then Voxney can buy so much space for his team where this Jinx might not be a problem. And Omen, this is just going to be his third death here, as he does get the ultimate off onto Vladdy, is able to shift away, but Vladdy catches him with the repercussion damage. Seneca goes for the flash away, tries to flash the wall, isn't actually able to get there. And unfortunately for him, he is going down. Luckily for him, it's going to be the Alistar that gets it. It's Twist picks the kill up.
And this is just the nature of playing Yasuo compositions, right? If your Yasuo falls behind and the play that they make doesn't work out every single time, you're just going to rack up these deaths. And he's now 0-4-0, really having a rough one. I don't know what happened there. I think like they were maybe bush cheese potentially as he was walking up to collect a wave, but still he's gonna have to respawn, get on that, and potentially try to farm up for his Gale Force. And maybe then with that extra execute damage, you could look for a pick, but it's gonna be rough. The enemy team's getting tankier and tankier, and if you lose the ability to kill that first target to secure Jinx resets with that combination, with that Gragas, the Malphite into the Yasuo combination, your composition just will not function.
I think right now for Nord, the game plan is probably look for like 2.5 items, 3 items on the Jinx.
Yeah.
I think, you've got the Storm Razor, you're building towards, I believe that's a Hurricane maybe coming out. Actually, I can't remember the full itemizations yet. I haven't memorized all of those. Maybe it's a static, actually. Assuming as she's going the Energize build. I don't know.
Ridden's builds out a recurve though, so it's not that. Usually.
Oh yeah, they changed that, didn't they?
There are various build paths. There's like cracking into run-ins. I think Denvoxney did yesterday, but I don't think we have time for this. As third dragon has to be contested, you cannot give soul point over. So Nord feel desperation. At least they're on item completion.
He's here in this fight. He has to land an ult onto the big targets, and Omen has to be in range to be able to go for it. Kakos waiting for the opportunity. They are relatively grouped up as he's just playing Interrupt right now. Is going to try and get in, but he's got himself CC'd for the moment. In comes Vlad. He gets a 2-man ultimate on the backline. Omen's already dead, and they're just going to separate this fight into pieces. Here comes the Twisted Advance. Here comes the chain from Denvoxney, the Encore, collecting onto every last one of them. And Nord crumble to Nativz in this fight. Absolutely brutal play. Nativz just seem to have their communication down.
And it's absolute white. They try to layer the Gragas ulti into a Yasuo ulti, but it just whiffs. They only get Vladdy with it, so he decides not to take it. And in the end, they just get absolutely run over without even using the Maokai ultimate. Kakos cannot find the engage. And Nativz, props to them, they split apart well enough to the point where they just do not give any opportunities over, and you got to really wonder if that's the nail in the coffin.
I feel like the major difference here is Nativz just seem to be so on the same page the whole time. Like their decision-making is just so smooth and quick. I mean, Kakos was standing in the middle of the enemy team, looking like he was asking, hey, am I ulting now? Now? Are you in range? Can I ult? Can I go? Can I start the fight? There were multiple times where Denvoxney and Vladdy were standing on top of each other, and Kakos was in range to press that R key and then start the fight. But it just felt like Nord are just so mixed in their communication right now, and they're just not on the same page where Nativz are. Nativz just knew exactly how to play that fight, how to do it. Denvoxney spaced it amazingly. Vladdy able to sneak in as if he was jumping onto Kakos, and it was such a bait and switch where he presses the R and jumps straight onto the backline.
Oh no!
I mean, should be all right this time. I think they're more interested in setting up vision around Baron.
Yeah. So I really like when Nativz have done this game, right? They've accelerated the game as much as they possibly can because they've mismatched the objective timers. So they took Dragon at 6 minutes, then Rift Herald at 8, then Dragon at 12 minutes, and then they always mismatched the timers so they could take absolutely everything at the earliest possible time. And that way they force third and fourth Dragon extremely early, right? It's going to be a very, very early 23-minute soul, which Nord just keep having to contest, right? They're forced to because you cannot give up the soul and win the game. It's just impossible. So now Nord, what they have to do is try to farm up, try to get as strong as possible with these item spikes for the next Dragon Soul Point. Otherwise, you know, really, really is the nail coffin. I keep saying that. It probably already is over. But again, they have a chance. Maybe they get the Dream engage with the Yasuo Yone ulti, Yasuo Gragas ulti engage. I want to see Radiant Virtue or Jack Show completed for Malphite, and maybe one more item for Jinx.
Yeah, I think Hero really needs to just spend some time catching farm and kind of not looking for fights with their team so they can kind of become a champion. I mean, Omen has to die 5 more times than he hits the power spike, so there's always that to kind of keep in mind as well. He's halfway there, and then he just unlocks his secret passive of becoming 0-10.
Oh my goodness, that is a meme, isn't it? But it really is true, and I think
well,
Omen...
he's going to be getting closer. There it is.
I think he's dead.
Let's go, Omen.
Even
Getting closer and closer to his power spike. Catches the 2-man ulti. Actually gets the ult onto Stefan. Stefan's forced to flash after him. Honestly, kind of a bad play by Nativz to burn a flash onto a 0-5 Yasuo.
Yeah, maybe they could have walked in, but the sooner they kill him, maybe the sooner they can start up this Baron, which, honestly, maybe they choose not to because they can get Soul in 2 minutes, but it does look like they potentially can. They have a lot of DPS with this Yone. We'll see how fast it goes down, but yeah, of course, Nord do not want to contest this. They just want to contest this Dragon that's coming up in 2 minutes.
Maybe an optimistic ultimate from the Jinx. That might be the angle. There are
you
only
see Twist
opportunity.
is blocking. There it is.
There it is. Beautiful block. No opportunity to get in range and steal that one, as Kakos is also just going to limp away from the action, teleport into the mid lane. It actually looks like Nord are just going to try and commit to grab as much gold and take a tower shutdown, but they can't because Nativz are still in the area. And they now have a minute to set up for this Dragon. I'm hoping this is going to be Hido's second item, but I'm not feeling optimistic right now for the side of Nord. I think the good news is it's a Mountain Drake, so it's not the most impactful, but an early Mountain Drake or a Mountain Soul, the shield is actually fairly brutal.
Honestly, the Mountain Drake, Mountain Soul resistances, like combined with sustain, on top of the fact that you need to kill someone to get a Jinx reset, might be kind of brutal. I won't lie, that Soul seems a little bit rough for a Jinx to deal with and a burst-oriented team to deal with that Yasuo combo. But still, 1 minute spawning, are they going to contest it? Like, do you really say we're going to go for Elder instead? We are behind nearly 10k gold. Of course, they don't know that, but they must feel it.
I mean, you can do some quick maths. You can press tab and see, oh, we have 2 item Jinx, 1 item Yasuo to 2.5 item Yone, 2.5 item
bush cheesing
Seraphine. But they've been seen walking in.
They're being pinged,
There's
right?
no way they fall for this. Vladdy? He's not going to go for... I thought he was going to go for the
he tried
ult.
to bait it out. This is kind of tense, actually, because this is
so
like
tense.
one overstep which could delay Dragon.
They're going in. They force the ultimate. There's going to be the wind wall actually to block away on to that ultimate. Hido's been untouched, but he doesn't do any damage at all. Indecision, meanwhile, is getting run down. Knockup's coming in, but Hido, he just, look, they're full health. This 2 item Jinx is doing nothing. Kakos gets himself the knockup. They can't kill as Stefan just menacingly walks towards Hido, and now Hido has to limp away.
It's absolutely brutal. The auto attacks were healing them. Stefan got engaged on by the Yasuo Gragas. And he ended up full HP.
They're full health.
Under tower as well. He had tower aggro, was like comboed by Yasuo Gragas and full HP for like 10 seconds. They got the dream fight too. The Yasuo blocked Windwall, the Seraphine ulti, but it just wasn't enough.
Well, they've managed to respawn because it's still relatively early into this game. Maybe they can defend this tower, but there's such a big wave. The Nexus has been left open. The health bars are too low. They don't have the follow-up. They don't have the wombo combo available to them. Hido continues to do negative damage to the native lineup. And with the shielding, with the sustain, this game is just over. Nativz making it look easy as they go 2-0 on week 1.
Absolutely surgical by Nativz, like complete step-by-step how you snowball a game the fastest possible way. You take every single objective, mismatch them so you never give over the opportunity to cross-map, and then you snowball that into a soul point at 16 minutes, and then a soul at 23 minutes. Flawless. I really can't nitpick anything. Really well played by Nativz.
I think it kind of all started with that level 2 gank in the bot lane from the Maokai, right? Really just putting that Jinx under under too much pressure, right, Aragon? Like that was a thing that you really put out.
Yeah. A really surprising gank actually from the Maokai at level 2. I expected everything to just be very slow, be enabled at level 6s, but maybe that's why he went for it. Really good gank from Stefan at level 2 to secure those flashes, and creating snowball lead for bot side. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Very good.
They did do a good job, though, with kind of coming back to that lane. They almost got the double kill. They forced them out. And then Hiddo actually was, you said it in game, he was the relevant player. But I don't know, man. Like, I'm going to have to flame here. I'm going to have to go in hard. Stop picking
We love a
comps
bit of
and then
banter.
playing badly. Like, just stop picking cheese comps and then actually playing them just really wrong. It's so tragic to watch. And I know, 2 in a row, I've been so excited about these games and they've been disappointing, man.
Yeah, I think it's rough because these have been our two best, teams that people think are the two best teams, like absolutely crushing their opposition. Yesterday, we didn't see that because they played against each other, right? So I think it's just been 2 stomps, and maybe the next games will be closer.
Also, we got to see the Voxna and Seraphine here, Bryn, right? You're like, I forgot about the Seraphine. Well, he definitely did remind you why that's something we got to keep in mind here.
Yeah, it's something we talked a little bit in the pregame as well. When you locked it in, it's one of those things where, like, I always do think of Demoxing as a hyper carry. And then for him to kind of pick up the Seraphine, it reminds us that actually he is a very flexible player. I think he definitely leans more into being the main guy for the team and the person who they all play around. But his ability to kind of take a step back and let the rest of his team pop off and just be that supportive role. I mean, we were joking about it. That bot lane tower dive, there was probably a good 14, 15 Jinx rockets coming out like in that fight. And just due to a bit of inherent tankiness, but also the shielding from the Seraphine, just meant like, I felt like that was like a Doran's sword Jinx fighting versus like a full build team, man. Like that's what it felt like. It was so brutal to watch.
And also, Eric, I want to like kind of get your thoughts here quickly. Like, who was like the shining star in this like symphony that just like was the side coming through here in this game? Like, it's a very tough one to call.
Yeah, I think it was Vladdy. My vote would be Vladdy because he was actually winning in terms of the 1v1 as well. I mean, he probably should in terms of that matchup, but like still, I was very impressed with how he played team fights, everything like this. I think it's kind of split between mid jungle because Stefan and Vladdy did play very well together. Stefan found those early plays, but Vladdy gets my vote.
I agree. I think Vladdy just like completely skill checked Omen. Omen got run over there. That was such a brutal mid lane. Massive mid diff, basically, just because Vladdy was just really confident at piloting the Yone and played it super well. And as much as I flame Yone in game, I have to admit he was very, very good at it.
Absolutely, and also like when that solo kill came through, like he was trying to set up a gang for like with Stefan. It seemed like, and then all of a sudden, Stefan didn't need to do anything because like, well, Omen was just gone.
Yeah,
I think he might have caught himself off there.
Yeah, learn some new limits. Wait, I can kill him alone here. I didn't actually need the gank, kind of deal. But we saw that continuously where it was just one-shotting. I think in top side there was a play as well where he bush cheesed and then just killed Omen alone. And that's crazy because I thought Omen played incredibly well yesterday, right? So maybe some inconsistencies from Omen, but I want to highlight that. I really like the fact that Nativz played something different today. I highlighted earlier that it was in Dead Voxing comp, protect the Dead Voxing comp yesterday, and now today they're actually playing through mid jungle. That screams to me that they can play multiple styles, and that's really, really, it's a really good look going into the future.
Hey, Brim, we also kind of saw that from Verdant yesterday, right? Where like we've now seen them. We got a lot of people talking about how Verdant was going to be a team that was going to play pretty much exclusively through Nilla, the Jaxes, the Aurelius of the world, and we've kind of seen 2 separate styles come through from Verdant as well, right? Which kind of showcases some interesting things about our top 2 expected teams going into this season.
I think the main thing for me here is what I've seen from both Nativz and Verdant is what we've been kind of missing from the losing teams today, especially is just decision making. It's very clearly like there's a plan, there's an action, and everybody is working as one effectively. In fact, this is what Ruddy did so well last season. They were a team who looked like a well-oiled machine. And it feels like, they go into their fights with a very clear plan. They understand who the targets are. When someone makes a call, they follow up on it. I mean, I even highlighted it. That Dragon Pit fight where you had Vladdy and Den Voxley standing on top of each other, and a Malphite, was just literally standing in ult range. Yeah, the Yasuo wasn't in range, but all he has to do is press E on one of the frontliners to get to the back line, and he's there. And it just felt like they were so afraid to commit because they were thinking, oh well, if we do it now, we're gonna get caught by this or this and this. And the fact that they were so indecisive meant they did nothing, and then the fight started and it just crumbled around them and they fell apart. I think the indecisiveness is something which I've seen from both Ruddy and Nord in these games today, where I feel like Verdant and Nativz have both proven themselves to be really, really intelligent as a unit, and a team that kind of share a similar goal in each individual situation they're placed in.
Yeah, and with that in mind, we are going to be going to a winner's interview here with the guy on the Seraphine here, Den Voxner. How are you feeling about that one, right? We've seen two different sides of the coin of the Nativz yesterday and today. Congratulations on the win. Anything else that like really stands out to you from this game?
I'm just happy that we show a dominant fashion. We kind of knew what we wanted to do and just played a good game of League of Legends. Obviously yesterday we lost, but I think we've been focusing on some things. I think we've done well this week. I think yesterday we got exposed on some other parts, maybe slightly the team fighting and maybe some drafting and some side laning or lane assignments, and that's fine because we have 7 weeks to fix it hopefully. So yeah, I'm just happy that the stuff we have focused on we're doing well, and now we're gonna need to focus on new stuff to get better.
Yeah, that's good. I want to talk to you about something that happened during the previous stream, where I believe that the people on the stream called you a player that does not play AP mages very well, like primarily plays data, and you're like, you forgot about my Syndra. Well, we apparently also have to keep your Seraphine in mind. Can you talk us through why that was the pick today?
We just had 3 early bruises in the comp, and we knew that there were a decent amount of options depending. We can pick an AD carry, we can pick a lot of supportive mages here because we already have relative to their comp a lot of damage in the Maokai, Yone, K'Sante. We're tanky enough, so I kind of could pick whatever I wanted, and I think Seraphine kind of fits the comp. It kind of free scales into the Jinx, and as long as you're fine in the game, you should provide value for your team. And I know my top set will then carry and then show up to team fights, press W, GG, and yeah. So it's kind of just look at the enemy comp, see what I think I can provide to the team. What do I need to provide to the team? Because I don't need to carry this game. Looking for the first 3, and yeah, that's what I did. So shout out to my team.
Absolutely, love to hear that. And also, before we let you go here, a final thing to talk about here. You have a 1-1 start to the season. Are you aiming to take the title of NLC champion, or what's the end goal for this project? I know it's a question everyone hates to get, right? But you gotta answer. You gotta give me something here.
Yeah. Okay. Obviously, it is. So yeah, we are obviously, but there's a long way to go. I think more than taking the title, we want to play good games of League of Legends. We want to get good at the game, and we want to play together well. I think that's the most important thing we can do from this split. We're only together 1 split. Most likely, I guess it depends. I think we are just trying to get good. It sounds kind of oh, you're just trying to get good, but try and see what things you can improve on, things you can get better, and things you can learn for your future teams, or just making sure we play as well as we can. And to that point with winning the split, I already talked to. Well, we talked about it as a team, and if we win, we're gonna. I'm not sure if all 5 are in yet, but at least we're 3. Me and Stefan, I think Twist as well. We're gonna color our hair purple if we win the split, but that's a far way out. We already said it now from the beginning yesterday, so hopefully that happens, and we'll all look smooth as hell with the purple Native shirt and purple hair.
Absolutely, thank you. Yet again, congratulations on this victory, Den Voxner. So purple hair, guys. I don't know. Do you want to blend in with your background to a certain extent, Hipbrain? Get that purple hair going as well.
Bro, I dyed my hair so many different colors over the years.
That's why I'm asking you.
It's such a hassle, man. I really liked it when I had silver hair, but goddamn, it was such hard work keeping that. I don't know if you've ever dyed your hair before, but you have to use special shampoo. You're constantly dyeing it to get rid of the roots. If you ever Den Voxner, he'll look good with a shaved head though. So he can dye his hair purple, and then when he's done, just shave his head and it'll suit it. I just wouldn't look good with a shaved head. So props off to Den Voxner, because honestly, from the form I've seen him playing at the last couple of days, and also just from former knowledge of the player, like I think there's a relatively good chance that that guy's gonna have purple hair by the end of summer.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, it is between them and Verdant. We keep saying it, but shout out to the Bold Vokny arc. I'm really excited for that. I just think it was really good. What he was saying just screams to me that he has full confidence in his team, right? Like, he kept saying stuff like, you know, my top side is going to carry here, so I can play Seraphine. It tells me that the scrims are probably going pretty well, that, you know, in the future they can keep trying new different drafts, because he doesn't feel like he needs to play a hyper carry, and he doesn't feel like he needs to carry like this. So yeah, no, really bodes well for the future.
And I definitely agree with you there, Aragon, as well. I think the biggest thing for me here was that they were talking about playing good League of Legends, that continuous development process, more so than about winning the games, right? And I think that's super indicative of a team that has the correct mindset to go far, absolutely. And also, hey Brain, we got to keep in mind that a year ago, this jungle and mid duo did, I believe, make playoffs in the NLC, so it is a pretty prominent mid-jungle duo in Vladi and Stefan.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we've seen so many good mid junglers come through this region. It's honestly, so I've been on the scene so long, but I'm trying to like rack my brain for like players who've come through the scene and like genuinely impressed me. Aragon's obviously not one of them, hence why he's here instead of on the other side of the screen.
That's brutal.
Must admit, his one split in the LCD also did not leave a lasting impression on me. So
blame you, mate. You had the best intro though. Back in the old days, back in the UKLC days, like we had like an intro sequence and you just reading the Aragon book and like looking up at the camera and like giving a thumbs up. Oh god, that was amazing.
How did we get here?
I've completely derailed the conversation.
Yeah, that's fine. You know what? I'm going to derail this conversation so much that we are going to be going to a quick break. But when we come back, we'll have yet another match coming here from the NLC 2023 summer season.